Hello everybody and welcome back, and now in this lecture we will cover our second tool for the footprinting, which is called Nikto. Now Nikto can also be used for the web penetration testing, which basically it scans for the website and it prints out if there is any possible vulnerability on the website, or if there is any outdated version. For example, the Apache 2 could be outdated and the Nikto will show us that. Now this can be put into the active interaction, since we are scanning the website and you should not be doing that on a website you do not own. So I'll just scan the website that I put out on my laptop. Well, not a website, web server. It is Apache web server and it doesn't really have anything on it, but it's running currently, so we should be able to see the IP address and the version of the Apache, and also maybe some of the errors it could possibly have. So let me just enlarge this a little bit. Now in order to run Nikto, you basically just type here Nikto. It will show you the usage of the command. Now these are some of the basic options that you can see right here. If we wanted to, we could print the extended version. I believe it is help, as it says right here. Yeah, this will be the extended version of the Nikto help command, and we can see there are a bunch of the options right here for this program. Now, we won't be covering all of these, since that will take a lot of time, but we will cover some. Basically, the most important one would be the, let me just find it, the host. Here it is, target host. So in order for you to scan a website, you need to provide a target host. Now, that target host can be either a domain name or basically a IP address. Now, in my case, I will use my IP address, since my laptop is on my local network and its IP address is 192.168.1.15. Now, if you have any available website or any other virtual machine, you can test it on that one, and you can check out if your local website is vulnerable to something, or possibly could be vulnerable to something. Now, let me just show you. Let's type here Nikto. And basically we'll specify first of H for the host and then 192.168.1.15. Now this should print out some of the errors it might find, such as here we have the anti-clickjacking X-frame options header is not present. The XSS protection header is not defined. Now this could be a problem. It is opening us to a cross-site scripting attack, but it also could be just a false alarm. See, here we can see the allowed HTTP methods on the Apache website, which is get, head, post, and options. And this will take a few seconds to finish. Basically, if it takes a lot of time, we will just close it, so I can show you some of the other options that Nikto has. Here we have login.php, admin login page section found. Portions of the server's headers are not in the Nikto database or are newer than the known string. Okay, would you like to submit this information? We do not want to submit any right now. Now you might be asking, what kind of login page am I hosting on my laptop? Well, basically I just have a fake Instagram page right there. I just made it, so if we type my laptop's IP address, let me just open this up. It will lead us to a fake Instagram page. As you can see right here, it is not a real Instagram, it is basically just my IP address, which we will use for some of the attacks later on. But for now on, we will just use the Nikto in order to scan this page. And as we can see, it has finished. It printed out a bunch of the options which could be useful or not for you, depending of the website and depending of the errors. But let's check out some of the other examples of this command. So let me just type here H, and we can see the help command once again. We can see our options, the config, display, format, host, evasion, encoding technique. For example, you can use the evasion. I believe it is tagged as a -e in the command. We can use the -e, then specify any of these numbers if we want to, for example, fake parameter, directory self-reference, or any other, we can, right here, we will use number 1, random encoding, non-UTF-8, okay. So we will basically run the same command, but we will add, let's add before that. Now I believe that this will print out the same output, so we are not really interested right now in waiting for this to finish. So one more thing I want to show you is that you can specify a port on which you want to scan. Now most likely that port will always be port 80, so it is not really needed, but in case you want to, for example, scan on port 443, which is the HTTPS usual port, you can change that with the -P option. As we can see, default is 80, so you would just type here Nikto and then the host, which in my case is 192.168.1.15, and then you specify a port and type here 80 or 443 or any other port you want, but most likely it will be one of those two. Now let's say, for example, we want to scan port 80, since my Apache web server is running on port 80 on my laptop, and we want to save that into a file. Now how we do that? With the -O command. Let me just check here if it really is -O. I'm not seeing it right here. I believe it is. Yes, it is output, so we'll just type here -O -O, and we will name a file. Basically we can name it anything you want. We will name it right here result. And you also need to specify the file type, which I believe is the capital F, which is format, save file, format. Okay, so format, we will just type here basic txt, we want to save it into a txt file. And we can run the same command once again, and basically right here, once it finishes, we will have a file with all of this stuff written to it, so you don't have to write it manually. The output option can be used if you need to provide to someone the scan results, so you can just put that into any file type. I just decided it to be txt for this example, and you can just send the file to someone. Now let's just wait for this to finish so we can check out our file. Here it asks us again if we want to report something to the website, I believe. Let me just read once again. Not in Nikto database or anywhere. Would you like to submit this information? No, we do not want to. So now if we type ls, I should have a result file, as we can see right here. Now if we nano the result file, let's just cat it result, we should see all of our output right there. As we can see, target hostname, target port is right here, and there are some of the, I'm not really sure why it didn't put all of them in here, or maybe it did, I just can't see them. But that's the example of writing a Nikto output into a file. Now, if you want to run Nikto, we'll just delete this file for now. If you want to run Nikto, you can see that there is an option to run it over a proxy. As you can see, use proxy. Use the proxy defined in the nikto.conf file. Now, in order for you to do this, you need to link in that file any proxy you want, basically. If you have one, I will show you how to put it there. I don't really have one at the moment. We will cover proxy and VPN later on, but for now on, let me just locate the nikto.conf file. We covered this command, so you just type here locate and then the name of the file, and it will show us all of the files that are named like this and where are they stored. Now we are interested in the first one, which is in the @c, and if we nano to the nikto.conf file, we can see a bunch of options right here. Let us navigate and find the proxy option. Let me just check where it is. Here we go. Proxy settings still must be enabled by use proxy. So basically, if you wanted to use proxy in the Nikto program, you would specify use proxy in the command, and here you would specify the proxy and the proxy host and the proxy port. So if you had a proxy, you would specify the proxy IP address right here, which for me is just localhost at the moment, and here you would specify the port. And also one more thing you will need to do is remove the hash in order for this to be configured. And after that you will just type Ctrl-O, save, enter, Ctrl-X to exit, and then you could use your proxy in a Nikto. But since I don't really need it at the moment, I will just put the hash back so we don't use it, and I will say once again. So basically just remember that the file is located in the @c. You can also find it with the locate command. So that would be about it for the Nikto program. If you want to, you can check other options as well. I don't find them useful at the moment, but if you want, you could check out all of the other options. And we will continue in the next lecture with the Whois program. And I hope I see you there, and take care.